Welcome to the Worlds of Myth, a tabletop role-playing game literally designed to recreate an anime. And not just any anime, the type of long-running, character-heavy, plot-driven anime that many of us grew up with and others are just discovering. This is Myth. Today we're going to be covering the Elves, one of the 7 core races of the Myth universe. But before we go too far into it, I just wanted to remind you guys that we are running a Kickstarter right now. We're trying to get off the ground, and much of our success is going to be due in large part to the success of that Kickstarter. Not just because of the money that it brings in, but also because it helps us to gauge interest in the game, and it also reaches out to our future players. I would encourage all of you to visit our Kickstarter and consider donating, and of course sharing the video as well. You can only donate $5, that's totally fine. You'll still receive a shout out here on this channel. And for those of you who can donate more than that, there are also some pretty cool prizes. Alright, moving on. Today we will be covering the elf race in the Myth universe. We'll start by covering general roleplay information like their culture and lifespan, followed by the 4 characteristics that separate each race, namely stat bonuses, gene slots, spell schools, and abilities. And then we will finish off by giving you a handful of builds you might try. So to start off, elves are a specialty type race, meaning they have intermediary stat bonuses and gene slots and are mostly based off of their racial ability, which is a bit more interactive than other racial types. They live a bit longer than humans with a lifespan of 200 to 300 years and are considered an uncommon race. So you won't see these guys around constantly, but you would be hard pressed to go a lifetime without encountering an elf. Physically, elves are the same size as humans, with pointed ears. The length and shape of these ears can vary depending off of their heritage. Elves in the Myth universe are most noted for the different types of magical eyes that they can possess. We'll get more into that when we cover their abilities. Temperament-wise, elves can be just as good or evil as any human, so the relationship with the other races is just a world-by-world basis. They are a bit more in tune with nature than the other core races, but not so much that it prevents them from technological advancements. Side note, guys, I've had a lot of my beta testers ask if this chick had her hands replaced by those gunsicle-looking weapons. No, those are meant to be gloves. That's actually my bad as a poor design on my part. My artist kind of just did the best she could. So, anyway, moving on. Alright, so stat bonuses. As you can see, elves will receive bonus stats equaling +2 to 6 over the course of them leveling up. They get their max bonus at level 7. Elves tend to be a bit faster and more agile than some of the other races with a stronger willpower, and their attunement to nature makes their spirits a bit stronger than the average Joe. Elves get 3 gene slots, which is neither good or bad. The number of gene slots that a character has is the number of genes that you can splice into them. These genes can modify their appearance as well as give stat boosts and access to spell schools and abilities that they may not have had before. Spell schools are spell categories. Having access to a spell school means you can potentially learn any spell in that school so long as you are able to pay the necessary costs. Elves have access to hypnomancy, which is illusion magic. It's a very manipulative spell school that allows you to control your opponents, either making them easy targets, turning them against each other, or just swindling them in roleplay situations. This spell school's power is mostly based off of how well the individual player uses it. Elves also have access to Vitamancy, one of the most common but most important staple spell schools. This school focuses on life magic, with tons of healing spells as well as stat boosting spells. Echomancy is sound magic. This spell school has a lot of status effects as well as a lot of attacks that punish wearing armor. Unlike most of the other races, which only get to choose one elemental spell school, because elves are more in tune with nature, they are able to pick up 2 from the list of Pyromancy, which is fire magic, Aquamancy, which is water and ice magic, Aeromancy, which is wind magic, Geomancy, which is earth magic, and Electromancy, which is lightning magic. Like most of the other races, elves get to pick up one of the 2 spiritual spell schools, either Holymancy or Shadowmancy, meaning either light or dark type magic. Before I get to the elephant in the room, which is their eyes, I'd like to go over the elves' other minor abilities first. Elves have keen sight and hearing, which gives them a +3 bonus to success and challenge rolls that involve sight and or sound. By way of explanation, a success roll is the core mechanic used in the game to accomplish basically anything, and is done by rolling a d20 and adding all appropriate bonuses. A challenge roll is basically the same exact thing, only you are trying to prevent something from happening instead of trying to cause something. Charmer's voice. Elves have a small amount of magic in their voice. This means that any rolls that they will have to make to convince someone to do something or believe that the elf is not lying will get a +3 bonus. Finally, let's talk about those eyes, the biggest, most important part of what makes an elf, at least in the myth universe. I recognize that nowhere else do elves have eyes like this. During character creation, an elf starts with a free gene that is both a racial and eye type. You can check gene types in their descriptions in the document. This free gene will not cost any experience points and will not fill any gene slots. Currently, there are 4 different genes that fulfill the qualifications of being both an eye gene and a racial gene, and those are the devil eyes, the seer eyes, the basilisk eyes, and the dark eyes. Each of these eye genes gives the elf certain stat bonuses and access to a unique spell school. It should be noted that elves can pick up the other 3 types of eyes, or any other future eyes, without having to spend a gene slot, though they will still have to spend experience points. This means that elves can effectively have 7 genes spliced into them. It's just that 4 of those are more controlled. Additionally, once an elf has all 4 of the elf eyes and has become an epic character, meaning a character that is level 15 or higher, they can pick up the powerful omnipotent eyes. Let's start with the devil eyes. These eyes are characterized by cat-like slitted pupils that are not black in color, and are different in color from the iris. Other than that, any color combination is possible. The devil eyes specialize in seeing different wavelengths, meaning that they can adjust from normal vision to heat vision or night vision or X-ray vision. They can also adjust their depth perception to see at further distances and to grant aim bonuses. This mixed toolkit of both utility and stat buffs, along with the flat +2 aim bonus that the genes gives, makes these eyes ideal for snipers. Seer eyes. These eyes are characterized by runes that circle around the outer edges of the iris. The runes can be any color and take any shape. Seer eyes have the ability to see the flow of time, and their spell school gives them a small amount of control over it. Their stat bonuses give +1 to combat skill and +1 spirit, making them a good pickup for melee and caster type fighters. These eyes offer spells that can see in the past, present, or future, whether you want to see a vision of a room's past, crystal ball someone who is in the present but is too far away, or see brief glimpses of people in the future to give yourself an edge in combat. These eyes are an incredible useful tool. Basilisk eyes are the eyes of death. They are characterized by yellow or gold irises that are shaped like rounded stars. The number of points on the star vary from eye to eye. Additionally, basilisk eyes always have black tattoo-like markings around the eyes. These markings can take any number of shapes. The basilisk eyes can see a creature's life energy and how close they are to death. For the stat bonuses, these eyes give -1 endurance, meaning that you will take more damage from attacks and will have a smaller health bar. But they give +3 will, which means that spells that you cast will deal increased damage. Like its stat modifiers, the spell school of the basilisk eyes is a double-edged sword. Most of the spells in this school will eat into your health reserves, using them as an additional resource. But in return, you can gain powerful bonuses or launch devastating attacks. These eyes also possess outright killing magic, which can whittle your opponent's health down or prevent healing. At their most powerful, basilisk eyes can potentially instant kill an enemy. The last of the 4 basic eyes are the dark eyes. These eyes are completely black. No irises, no pupils, and no opportunities for customization. Now, these eyes are a bit different from the others. All of the other eyes mentioned up until now have a type of vision that they offer, but dark eyes users, by contrast, are completely blind. To compensate for this, the dark eyes give a better stat package for the same price, offering +1 endurance, +1 spirit, +1 strength, and +1 intelligence. The Dark Eyes spell school also gives you control over other senses, allowing you to increase or decrease pain, hearing, or sense of smell. You can also cause others to go blind, and you can even gain the ability to see through the vision of others. Finally, let's talk about the most powerful of all the eyes, the omnipotent eyes. As previously mentioned, these eyes can only be obtained by an epic level character who already has at least 4 racial/eye type genes. It should be noted that while other races could potentially receive these eyes, it is a very costly build that only elves can do efficiently. Omnipotent eyes are the most customizable of all the eyes, and I'm sorry that I only have one picture, but you guys will just have to bear with me through the description of what these eyes are supposed to look like. The only requirement for omnipotent eyes is they have to have at least 5 pupils organized in the shape of a star, usually around a 6th central pupil. Other than that, the sky is the limit for these eyes. The shape of the pupils, the shape of the iris, the color of the iris and pupils, the color of the whites, the presence or absence of tattoo-like markings around the eyes. You could even opt for the iris to completely take over the whites. Now, the point of these eyes is that they combine all the powers of the other 4 eyes. That in and of itself is a very potent combination. You're talking about facing off with a being that you can't hide from, because he can just see right through your illusions or cloaking abilities. You can't really sneak up on him because he can see through your eyes, plus he can drop you to the ground by inflicting pain with a glance, or just outright kill you with the best instant death spell in the game. Plus, if he makes a mistake, he can just rewind time or freeze it before having his way with you. On top of that, he can read your mind, which is the 5th vision that the Omnipotent Eyes provides, the ability to see thoughts, which also gives you access to Psimancy. To top it all off, the ability that the Omnipotent Eyes gives you, which is really why you pick it up in the first place, is a unique spell known as Omnipotent Sight, which can allow you to generate fate counters. Also, they get rid of the blindness effect from Dark Eyes. Now, since this game hasn't been released yet, and you all can only guess at half of the game mechanics that I'm talking about, fate counters are very, very, very precious rewards that are usually doled out by the GM if you do something that they like. They represent your character's plot armor and can be spent for a variety of different things, but most of the time they are spent to treat a roll as if it were a natural 20. All in all, the Omnipotent Eyes represent the height of what it means to be an elf in the Myth universe, and you should be very, very afraid if you have to face off with someone who has them. Now, finally, we can talk about some different builds. Now, do note that this is by no means even approaching a comprehensive list, as the number of builds available are nearly infinite, but here are 3 different builds that could give you guys some ideas. To start off, we will go with a Devil Eyes using Sniper. With this build, you can pour most of your stat bonuses into your aim, which will be further enhanced by the stat bonuses of the Devil Eyes themselves. Following this, you'll want to pick up the Long Shot Weapon template. Long Shot weapons cover all types of sniper rifles. You can then pick up the spell Hawkeyes to further buff your chances to hit and the amount of damage, and it will also increase your range. Then you can just stay back at absurd distances and snipe people from far away. Later on, you can pick up different vision types like Heat Vision and Piercing Sight to help you snipe off those annoying characters that try to hide or can turn invisible. The second build that I have for you guys today is a caster that utilizes both the Seer and Basilisk Eyes. As with any character that uses the Basilisk Eyes, I recommend picking up the Regeneration gene, which gives you healing each turn, because it helps to offset the HP costs of most of the Basilisk Eyes. Also, for any Seer Eyes user, the spell Future Sight is almost mandatory. It's an expensive spell both in experience points needed to pick it up, as well as the amount of myth or magic energy needed to maintain it, but it gives you an extra d20 to roll whenever you make a success or challenge roll, and you get to take the higher roll, so it's really, really good. Quick side note, myth is not just the name of the game, but it is also a form of energy that is equivalent to mana in this universe. Anyway, the point of the build is to cast spells like Ice Shard, which can hit multiple targets with multiple attacks with one casting, and then amplify those attacks with the powerful Basilisk Strike, which will add death magic to all of your attacks. With Future Sight up, you will be both hard to hit and hard to dodge, so you can afford to go with a more glass cannon type build. Finally, let's go over a build that utilizes the Dark Eyes. For this build, we will be using the archetype of the Blind Swordsman, which you can see illustrated by our wonderful elf male. This build operates by utilizing the strengths of the Dark Eyes while getting rid of their weaknesses. First off, you'll want to pick up the Echomancy spell known as Echo Sight. This spell allows you a form of vision created by sound, effectively nullifying Dark Eye's blindness. You can also pick up Proxy Vision, which is a Dark Eyes spell that allows you to see through the enemy's eyes and will make you stronger with every opponent that you face. Picking up these spells in combination will make it impossible to sneak up on you and make you an army fighting machine while giving you two forms of vision. This makes it hard for opponents to get rid of your vision since they would have to figure out a way to negate two different spells. Finally, you'll want to pick up both Tuning Strike and Screeching Aura, as both of these will increase the effects of Echo Sight. Tuning Strike by itself will increase the amount of damage you pump out with each sword strike, and will deal even more damage to characters wearing armor, which almost every character in the Myth universe is going to be wearing some type of armor. Combined with Echo Sight, you'll receive an added bonus to your chance to hit and to block. Screeching Aura will deal constant damage to all of your enemies around you, and can increase your vision from Echo Sight to absurd levels. And that pretty much wraps up this overview of the elves. Sorry this video took so long. The different eyes on the elves just take so long to explain, but I'll try to make these videos shorter in the future. In the next video, we will be covering the angel race, but after that, we will be doing videos by popular vote. There will be a poll in the comments section asking you which race you would like me to cover after the angels. Again, everyone, please check out our Kickstarter and consider donating to the cause. Even if you can't donate any of your own money, sharing the video through social media, such as Facebook, goes a long way. And whether or not this game becomes an official reality very much hinges on the success of that Kickstarter. Until next time, I'm Avron01, and I hope to see you all in the next video.